I'd say there's kind of two trends. One is the rate at which cookies are going away is kind of greatly exaggerated. I know there's a lot of press around it, and the deletion rates are there, but cookies are still in bountiful abundance. And he's right. The facts are facts. People are deleting cookies at a great rate, but they're also, he, on the other hand, is saying that the amount of time people are spending on the internet is still rising. But there's a trend that may not be as clear in this group, and that's the trend of utilizing first-party data mixed with third-party data. And I think that's a very, very important thing for folks to get their heads around. So if you think about 9 or 10 years ago, there was CRM companies like Siebel. If anyone's old enough to remember that company, right? And they would hold CRM data. And then in the early 2000s, web analytics came at the firewall and said, hey, this is the people that are coming to your website. And now data companies like us are there saying, hey, we've got a bunch of third-party data. And let me tie it back to the cookie question you had. The trend is companies and advertisers are now saying, well, I've got this first-party data. Can you use this first-party data as a seed to do a lookalike model and find cookies that look just like that? So if I've got one cookie that's male 18 to 34 that came to my website, I know that for a fact, can you find 100 more that look like this? And so that's actually driving the accuracy in a better direction for cookies. So the volume of cookies is under pressure, but I'd argue that there are some big trends that are going to improve the accuracy of cookies as well. So it's the jury's out. It's still a moving.
So Chris, I'm having a hard time reconciling all this, right? Because I'm sort of, I own this, that I'm part of this industry. Like, we're talking out of both sides of our mouth, because I'm hearing buy up funnel, reach and frequency, and then I'm hearing anonymized data matching using first and third party data sets, which is specific granular targeting. And they're at two different places as far as media buying and planning go from a mindset perspective. Like, I mean, how do you reconcile that as far as the value you're getting from video holistically versus what you actually want how you want it to perform?
It's a big question, actually.
Go figure it out, dude. You know me, right?
No, I mean, shockingly enough, there are multiple ways to come at this, and what's cool is that so much of what we're doing right now is a new way to get at an old problem. And the challenges behind marketing and the challenges behind getting your message out to the right people are the same challenges we've had in advertising since people were pamphleteering on the streets. But the way we go about it is very different. And the new ways that we can go about it, going down to an addressable audience level, depending on what your marketing objectives are and how much of your budget you want to siphon off and put toward that specific objective, you now have the opportunity to do that and test into that and continue to see better efficiency, which is exactly what we're seeing. I don't think the shift would be happening the way it is if it weren't working. So we're getting that shift of dollars into the addressable space. Programmatic is helping to fuel that by the ease of operations that Gian was talking about and all the other efficiency that you find. But at the same time, awareness advertisers, people who are using mixed models to assess the effectiveness of their advertising, still work on a reach, frequency planning basis. So you can do both. And trying to shift 100% of your budget toward one methodology or the other is not necessarily the right move right now. You have the ability and you have the options, and this is why having a set of partners, be they agencies or vendors, who can help you manage all of those disparate tactics at once, because that helps you build a holistic smart marketing strategy, is really important. That's where the specialization comes into play.
Right.
We've talked a lot about having one stack that you think can do everything. I still think there's a very important role for people who specialize in individual areas, given the wealth of opportunity that digital communication has presented to us.
So, Jeremy, I just want to sort of wrap it up with you, because you're kind of driving. You guys are really pushing towards the point of arrival of RTB, which is an impression by impression based acquisition model. I know you're very bullish on that as an exchange, right? For video, to be specific. What is the role of addressability and data and first versus third party data to make that truly an ROI, sort of space for brands?
Yeah, so from a publisher's perspective, because that's what we're most familiar with, they think of themselves as brands as well, right? And so when you think about the business rules that they have set up in terms of their sales teams, and then thinking about utilizing programmatic channels, they have to segment inventory in a way that makes it valuable to potential buyers that may be sitting on the other side of the equation. And I think that, one way to do that is with their first-party data, right? They know and they have the ability to find these pools of inventory and package them up and market them in a programmatic way so that media buys become more efficient, and that the publisher themselves, they don't lose that sort of brand equity for their sites.
And this is what I think is really interesting from the publisher side of the business right now. And I look at my client portfolio, and the conversations I'm having with my clients who are typically publishers are, is your competitive advantage in content or is it in technology?